Oh man, it's happening, horror fam. Can you feel it, baby? Guess who's back? Should I come on early? Huh? What do y'all think? Should I come on early? Get a little bit of introduction going before we start the topic? How would you all feel about that, huh? I want to see it in the chat, baby. Oh, there we go. Daughter of Death wants it early. Should we do it? Huh? All right, I can't play with you all that long. Let's see what we can do here, huh? Let's get this music kicking. Let's get my webcam up. Oh, what is going on, horror fan? Make sure we're all lined up and good to gizzo. Scoot this way, scoot this way. I see my camera got bumped just a hair during setup. There we go. That's better, huh? Kaparuskis. All right. What is going on out there, horror fam? Long time no see, my friends. How is everyone out there doing tonight? I gotta say, man, first and foremost, it is awesome to be back, man. We got Chad going on. We got Dragon Blues. We got J.K. coming in the stream. Oh my goodness. Y'all have not left me. I thank you all so much for that, because a lot of you are probably wondering, where have you been? Well, I just wanted to let all of you know, first of all, I am now in California. I'm a Cali boy for the moment. If you couldn't tell with the purple background behind me, now don't worry. I am going to be putting up some shelving, so I'll get that cool background going again, so y'all can oogle all my collectibles. Don't worry. But right now, it is just a purple wall behind me. I'm getting set up. As a matter of fact, today's stream was a little bit hectic getting everything set up. It's been a while. I have some ring rust going on. And, oh, man, just in a totally new area. Like I said, I've moved across the country. So this is where I will be doing this for a while now, So the last time you all saw me, I know I got on and left a little bit of a cryptic message, just telling everyone that, like, we've had some personal stuff going on and I wouldn't be able to pull off a podcast. I just wanted to let you all know that everything is okay. I'm still alive. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make any of you all worry that much about me. I mean, come on, you got to worry a little bit. Show me that you care. But other than that, no. So, just to let you all know, because I came on a little bit early, so I could give you all some deets. And yeah, as you all know, we were myself and Anna were stuck at Necros for like a month and a week. We were there way longer than we were supposed to be, and had some health problems arise. A little bit of a funny story. I decided while we were down there to go hard on the exercise. And let me tell you something, South Carolina is hot. Much hotter than West Virginia. And South Carolina is humid. And Necro has a home gym, but it's inside of a garage that I decided to work out in without opening the garage door. So there was literally no airflow in this garage, and like I said, I decided to go pretty hard on the workings outs, and oh my god, my entire body got covered in heat rash. Yeah, that was horrible. I felt like ass, in addition to being there much longer than we were supposed to be. And then we find out that a family friend passed away, a dear friend of ours, and we got home to that and just everything else going on. And now I'm in California. So you can imagine things have been very different for us. So, yes, DOD, we should make a horror film about my experience over the past, 3 months? Oh my God. You wouldn't believe it. Yes. Garage door. Yes. The door of death. Oh my God. What's up, Grass Man? Haven't seen you in a while, Brother Jack, dude. How you doing, man? He doesn't like California. How come, Grass Man? I got to get the scoopsies. I asked people before I was out here, I was like, you got it, that I know, for people that have lived out here previously or had experience out here, I was like, you got to give me a survival guide. What are some things that I need to look for being out here, man? I need to thrive, not flounder. Dude, yeah, Chad, he was ready to call in a wellness check on me, man, dude. It's been crazy, man. It has been crazy, I assure you. Well, Grassman, that is one thing. He says Californians go doo-doo in the streets. Oh, man, I have yet to see that, but I'll just say I do not want dinner and a show. Gross. Yeah, Life with Necro would make the perfect movie. Let me tell you something, man, because it was a horror story on some levels. So let me tell you what. Tonight, we are going to be discussing real-life desert horror stories. Real-life desert horror stories, because to get out here, I had to come through the desert. And I'm going to tell you something. It was not the best experience. Now, I will say, one of the reasons we're even out here, just to go ahead and let you all know, is that we want to check out the west side of the country and see if there's anywhere we would want to live on this side of the planet. And I was pumped to see the desert. There's not a lot to see in the desert. I found that out on the drive through here. Now, I've been through there a couple times before, but still, this time was a little bit more excruciating. So I'm going to bring on desert expert JP. I'm about to bring him onto the stream right now, as he has a ton of experience with the desert. And we are going to discuss some of his experiences, some of my experiences, and then I have some stories pulled up, some scary desert horror stories. So, as always, feel free to chime in as we talk throughout the podcast. I will highlight comments and get to those as I go. And if you have desert horror stories of your own, please let us know. But here we go. JP, resident desert expert.
Desert hater.
Welcome to the stream, man. Now, you're not pulling any punches here, man. You absolutely hate the desert, and you're proud of it.
This is proper apparel for the desert. Lots of blockage and total shielding from the god-awful sun.
Oh, my God, dude. So, what are your experiences with the desert, man? Go ahead and tell the kind folks out there.
Okay, I got to ditch this to talk about.
Oh, he's ditching us. So, too hot. See, it's reminding him too much of the desert.
Okay, so every year, well, first off, my dad was a big archaeological guy. He loved to study the American Indians, especially. He loved archaeology, so he liked Indian ruins. And so he would review sites in New Mexico desert outside of Albuquerque that were known for or had been studied as and excavated as Indian ruins.
And your webcam's slipping a little bit. We're getting some cleavage.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
That's cool, man. There you go.
So every year he would plan all year on. Hold on a minute.
Oh, that's cool. It's cool. Go ahead.
Every year he would plan on a summer vacation to New Mexico.
Yeah.
Where he would be able to go and look at these Indian ruins.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a family of 8. And with a family of 8 and not a whole lot of money, your vacations were camping. Camping's a good one. And family vacation in the car that you go to visit relatives because then you don't have to pay a hotel and all this stuff. So our annual summer vacation was a trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we had 8 people. And we had a Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser station wagon that was beat up, broken down by the time I was old enough to remember. And so my dad would work that day and then come home, take a nap. My mom would have worked all day on packing up the car and the kids and making sure everybody's ready to go because dad's going to come home, eat dinner quick, take a nap. And then as the sun goes down, everybody packs in the car and we start our desert journey. And you don't want to go there. You don't want to drive through there because we're talking no air conditioning and we're talking about a large station wagon where you have a bench seat in front where 3 people sat, the back seat, 3 people, and then the very, very back, which was me and my twin brother, the youngest, a little 2-seater in the back. So,
dudes, do you know air conditioning in the car?
Not to my. If there was, my father would not use it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
brutal,
just man.
Sure. So, and it's funny too, because we get going, it's of course, not long until it's pitch black. And then my dad would drive for a couple hours. Now it's a 16-hour drive, right? So my dad would pull over after a couple hours of driving and he would let my mom drive and take a nap. Well, my mom never, ever drove, not ever, except maybe to the grocery store, the bank, whatever. So she followed the right side, the right hand lane, the pink line, you bet, on the right side. So it wouldn't take long. Maybe my dad would get about 20 minutes sleep and he would wake up and find the car stopped. We're in the remote desert on an off ramp. He has no idea. We have no idea where we are because my mom just followed the line on the right and it eventually got her off the road. So my dad would get up, scream and yell, get back in the driver's seat and continue to drive the rest of the way. So the Vista Cruiser was notorious. I don't think we ever made it out there once without breaking down somehow. And it would be 3 a.m. Everybody, and the car's on the side of the road. He's working on it for like an hour. Everybody get out. You guys got to get out and push. We have to jump start the car or whatever. And so I remember I'm like 4 years old and we're pushing this giant station wagon. Didn't even have time to put my feet or my shoes on. So I'm in, bare feet or socks. And even though it's dark out, the road's still blistering from the day. And so I remember having to do crap like that just about every time. And then we would drive through the night. And as the sun came up, we would arrive on glorious Albuquerque, New Mexico, which I have a couple printouts of. Let's see if this works. Downtown Albuquerque.
Oh, sweet. Let me go ahead and pull you up, make you big here so we can get.
Yeah, that's just about what it looks like. Okay. So it's a god-awful wasteland out in the middle of the desert, little ghost town. And so all the houses and things are made of primarily adobe. So clay doesn't stack high. So houses were 1-story little clay enclosures that resembled an oven very much. So we would pull up at my aunt and uncle's my aunt and uncle's house, and we all get out, and this is like their front door.
Oh my God, here we go.
Yeah, so if I can, this is like the little adobe shack that they owned, right?
Wow.
Let me pull that back. There you go. Yeah, so little house like that. And my parents' vacation entailed them sitting down at the kitchen table with my aunt and uncle and drinking and talking and catching up. And we were forsaken. We were left to kind of our own ends to go find out whatever we could do to pass the time. So now there's no yards, there's no trees, no plant grows over 2-3 feet tall because the sun is so scorching that it instantly incinerates any plant that is more than 2 or 3 feet tall. So There's no lawns, there's no water, there's no breeze, there's no green. There's
Oh my God.
There's gravel for the lawn, and my twin brother and I are left outside, basically to play with fire ants, and we got a magnifying glass, and we would sit and fry the ants or whatever, just any way to have fun. God forbid if some neighborhood child walked by, unsuspecting little kid who doesn't know us, because that would be our activity of the day. So that poor kid, he'd be lucky if he made it home in one piece.
There was like nothing to do in the desert, is what you're saying. Like
and we're left to it all day, because all my parents they didn't want to go on any there's one activity, I'll get to that, but primarily it was Eric and I sitting around in the desert, scorching sun, playing with fire ants, looking for unsuspecting neighborhood children to prey on. So after a while, and also my aunt and uncle belonged to like a country club, Four Hills or something like that. It had a giant swimming pool. It was awesome. There was green trees and everything. Never went. Never. I think we drove by it once, but they would never take it.
Oh my God.
So,
dude.
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, one year we were there, the town was all abuzz because they had a building that was actually more than 1 story tall. It was like a 3 or 5 story bank that they just opened. And they were giving tours. They were giving tours to the public to come in and tour it and get up on the roof and take a look at, the desert wasteland around them. And we went with my cousin Ricky, my aunt and uncle's kid, and they wouldn't let us in because he looked so much like Charles Manson that they thought he might try and do something violent or kill himself and jump off the roof. So we couldn't do that either.
Dude, I thought West Virginia was bad, bro. Like a 3-story building, and there's like crowds and shit gathering. Like, oh my God, look at this. Buildings as tall as the sky.
Yeah, no. So,
oh my God.
What now? Once in a while, like I think one year they got some Indian beads from either a small store or something to try and keep us busy.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with Indian beads? 2 little kids. So we got straws and we started shooting them at people and got in trouble for doing that. But every once in a while, we were treated to my dad's favorite activity and the purpose for him coming on this vacation. And that was to excavate already excavated Indian ruins. Now, nothing grows, like I said, nothing grows over 2 feet tall or so. But that's the city where they have some kind of watering or more precipitation. Where we're going to these Indian ruins, it's scorching, godforsaken desert wasteland more than even the town was.
Oh my God.
Here's your job. Now he's going off maps that he's collected throughout his year-long study of what to do on his summer vacation, which is go and excavate already excavated Indian ruins. And the reason that they're already excavated is very important because he wanted to collect pottery and arrowheads and artifacts from, but see, the problem was they've already been excavated, so there really weren't any. There were little tiny but here's your job. You stand up out of the car, and then you put your hands on your knees. You bend down and you look down at the godforsaken scorched earth, and your job is find little pieces of pottery or arrowheads that might have been left behind. That was our, and we're going down dirt roads. We're going way off, that metropolitan booming ghost town. That was at least some paved roads. This, nothing. Just, it was Death Valley. It was, So you spend the whole day out there, bent down, walking around with your hands on your knees, looking for shards of clay and arrowheads.
So man, like you have painted a hell of a picture. Like for those of you who haven't, raise your hand in the chat if you've never been to the desert, because this dude is painting a hell of a picture for you. Because let me tell you something, man. When you go through the desert,
here's what it's like.
That's there you go, man.
That's what it's like right there.
And
that guy.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, when I went through, it was weird because number one, temperatures hit. I remember looking in the car, man, the temperature hit 103 117 degrees.
Yeah.
And there is nothing. And I'm telling you, man, being from West Virginia, the thing about West Virginia is you can stand anywhere, do a 360-degree turn, and you are literally always surrounded by mountains. Period. There is never like plateaus. There's never a damn valley. Like, you are never on even ground ever. It is the mountain state. Period. So when I went through the desert, it hit me. I was like, holy shit! You can't even take a wrong turn out here because you can literally see for miles.
It's so flat that you can see forever. Yeah.
Yeah. And it also, I want to tell you something that I thought was scary. From some of the trips I've been through there, man, when you hit a sign, you have a half a tank of gas and you hit a sign that there's a damn gas station that's like.
We encountered that also on the trip out there and back. You'll see signs that say no gas station or last gas station for 50 miles. And my dad
or even worse, like 170 miles. And you're like, you better pray to God your ass is in like a fucking
my dad loved it.
Yeah, you better pray you're in like a Chevy Cavalier and not like a 1993 Chevy Silverado.
My dad was like Kramer on Seinfeld. He would say, "Oh, that's BS. They don't know what they're talking about. We're gonna go for it." And boom, out in the middle of nowhere, car breaks down. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, now, and when you go through the desert at night, it's like mesmerizing because you are driving, because now your vision is like limited to the road and that's it. And it only goes straight, period.
Oh yeah. When he was out working on the car, when the car was broken down, we'd be looking out the windows going, wow, what's out there? Cause it's pitch black. But you get out of the car and it's still pitch black, right? I mean, you can't see a foot away. It's so dark. If there's no moon. Yeah, it's brutal.
Dude, I was going to share this story with us because I see a lot of people out here who's like, they've never been to the desert. DOD hasn't been. J.K. hasn't been. Patty says that she loves the desert and she loves those trips.
She has a different take on it. And it's basically, it's like she's making the best of a really bad thing. It's kind of almost denial because it was... If you ask her, why did you stop going? Because it was compulsory. We had to go until you hit a certain age. And as soon as because they're all older than me. And so as soon as they hit that age, they were gone. You would never see them go again. And they would curse. Yeah. So I don't know what her recollection is, but I remember her actions and I didn't see her coming on with us. Come on, Patty, join us for the next years. What the hell? She wouldn't be there. No way. She was gone. It was so bad. We would come back in the fall after summer vacation, and you're in a new class, and the teacher wants you to write about your summer vacation. I would lie. I would make shit up just because I was so embarrassed. I couldn't. It was just not. It was just easier to lie than to be laughed at. After enduring, what I went through. It's like. Dude, don't rub it in.
Well, here's something I heard. Maybe you can comment on this because you've been to the desert far more times than I, undoubtedly.
By force.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, man, because I've heard this. I've heard this many times that there is a scam, essentially is what it is, where people will lay down in the middle of the road at nighttime in the desert. Just lay in the middle of the road as if they're unconscious or hurt. And then when people pull over to check on them, see if they need assistance or whatever, it was a total ploy and they like kill them or steal their car.
Get out of the desert by any means. I kind of can't blame them because if they get their hands on somebody else's vehicle to get out to escape that hell, then, I can sympathize. Yeah.
Damn, so I want to say now, man, Dragon Blues has been a member for 34 months, totally winning. Thank you for that, DB. JK, a member for 33 months, almost up to 3 years, baby. What a total stud of a man. And then Chad Edmonds coming in, has signed up as a new channel member. Total flex right there, Chad. Bringing it home, babe. Living up to the name. Okay, so let me ask you something, JP. I got children yelling at me.
Yeah.
Man, so, but yeah, that's what I heard. And what people don't realize is when you drive through the desert at night, one reason it's so damn scary is you could run out of gas there is nothing for sometimes hundreds of miles.
The Hills Have Eyes is exactly how I pictured it. I know that that's how it is. There are people. I mean, that movie it was so similar to my annual summer vacation trip.
Yeah,
with the family going out to the desert and having these people, have their way with these poor tourists broke down on the side of the. Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
Just hits too close to home for me.
Well, let me tell you, man, the weirdest thing is when you're in the desert, it's like you will not pass another car for 50, 100 miles, especially at night. But I always thought, I was like, man, when you're driving through there at night and you can't see shit, I was always like, wouldn't it be spooky if somebody was just standing out there?
Yeah.
Standing out in the middle of nowhere, man.
And they probably are. I think probably they are, because they probably lay low during the day because it's so god awful hot. You can only be out on the surface, at night.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why the Hills Have Eyes, where they were, they're all hidden in mountains and things like that. It's because it's the only way to survive.
Well, dude, I've pulled up. If you wanna go through these with me, man, I'll read them out loud. But I've pulled up some scary true stories in the desert. And keep in mind, folks, there's a lot of desert out there. Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Nevada. The desert is huge, man. So there's a lot of experiences out there. And I'm going to go ahead and read one of these to you all. And Grassman throwing out an ominous statement there. They feed at night. Oh my God. And then there's DB, man. Somebody owes somebody a Coke right there. DB saying they mostly come out at night. Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, here you go, Chad. Imagine driving in the desert in a highway at night and come across Leatherface in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd try to run his fat ass over. But
we were extremely fortunate that my dad was just really good with cars and engines, because he was using, whatever was in the car to fix all the various things that would break down at 3 a.m. I mean, it was scary as hell just being out there.
We'd be toast, man. I'd get us all killed. Okay, here's this. It says, scary true story in the Arizona desert. Let me preface this by saying I'm not claiming this was any particular phenomenon. I am telling you what happened exactly, how it happened. No exaggeration or lying of any kind. Now, on to what happened. So this dude sounds totally trustworthy. I'm just going to say it there. I'm going off of his word here. So he says, 20 years ago, my older brother and I, both 19 and 15 at the time, were working a landscaping job in northern Arizona. We had gotten off work at the site around 7 p.m., hopped into his truck, and started the 45-minute commute home. On the way back there is a dirt road that leads about 20 miles into the middle of the desert. It's there mainly to take dirt bikes out or go four-wheeling, etc. But we would use it as a good spot to stop and smoke weed while avoiding prying eyes. So we drive a few miles in and park in between these two hills that hide the truck and us pretty well. We've done this about 30 times up to that point, though never again after that night. God, I can't believe they had to actively find somewhere to hide in the desert. But here we go. We stop and I commence the ritual of breaking it up to roll. He was talking about something, but I wasn't really listening until I heard his voice change. Did you hear that? He asked. We both listened, and I heard a strange, high-pitched, tinny sound for a split second, and then suddenly, complete silence. The desert is actually a pretty loud place at night. I remember realizing that when the sound was gone. As we sat there for maybe 5 more seconds, my brother gasps, starts the truck, and floors it in rapid succession. We're flying out of the desert now, and I'm bouncing like a ball from his reckless driving. I'm asking him, what the fuck, man, as we go, but he says nothing. We hit the street, and the lights of a passing car show his face. He is pale and completely wide-eyed with his mouth open. I got scared at seeing so much fear from him and just sat there waiting for him to stop. He finally stopped at a McDonald's parking lot when we got back in town. He started crying. I just patted him on the shoulder and waited. After a few minutes, he asked me if I remember. Remember what, man? We were in the desert for like 5 minutes before you went flying out like a crazy asshole. He looked at me and started sobbing. He said it had me and he couldn't do anything. He said it took me. At this point, I started putting some things together. It was quiet out, no cars. Looked at one of those billboard clocks and seen it was 11:11 p.m. My brother told me something had grabbed me through my closed passenger window. He had went for his pistol when he suddenly was froze and couldn't move because the thing told him that if he didn't stay right where he was and wait, that I would die and he would be next. He said he felt it in his heart to be true. The thing that had me was very tall and thin with huge black eyes. He says he doesn't remember anything else about it, just tall and thin with huge black eyes. He sat frozen in absolute terror for hours while the thing disappeared with me into the desert. Then suddenly I appeared in the truck and he gunned it out of there. Over the years, I've talked to him about it twice. He hates to even mention it. He is ashamed, I think, and still very afraid of it. He changed after this, always seeming to be less energetic and a little withdrawn. I wish it wasn't like that. Wish I could help. I told him he is blameless and I thanked him for getting us out of there. That's all I could do. I had considered multiple times to get hypnotized to see if I could recover some memories, like I've heard other people apparently have. But whenever I think about it, I remember the light flashing over his face and the sheer terror I seen there. Better not to know, I think. Anyways, this is sort of a fuck you to whatever it was. I told the story. Eat me.
Very typical. I totally believe it. Yeah.
Dude, so what in the hell do you think grabbed him?
I don't know, but he better be careful with hypnotism because if it does bring back stuff that his brain has, forced to shut out so that he doesn't have trauma, added trauma, then, hypnosis can bring that back. And
God, do you have any experience with hypnosis?
No, I don't, actually. I used to, no.
You know somebody who has or something?
Oh, we used to try and hypnotize neighborhood girls and stuff.
But my God, dude. So he said so it sounded like he said like his window was closed.
That's all it takes.
And this thing, and this thing grabbed him through the window and took off with him, and he doesn't remember anything.
It looks like that too when you're out there. It's like it's eerie. It's dark as dark can be, but you can kind of sense something's watching you. Something's out there. Yeah.
God.
People don't live there. There's a reason that people don't. There's a reason there's not houses there. No one lives there. Don't live there. Don't even go in there.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Dude, Dragon Blues is saying definitely aliens.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's citizens of like Albuquerque. Those people were just a different breed.
So let me ask you this, man. Why in the hell is it, out of all the places these aliens could go to, man, why do they choose the desert?
Well, they stick out. They stand out. They're different somehow. And so people don't, aliens don't want to go where they're going to be identified. That's why, it's like the prime directive. Don't get involved.
Do you think, so are you saying like
study
nobody
will,
out?
Yeah.
So are you saying like nobody will even see them? Or are you saying like they'll just blend in with the desert people?
You want to go at 3 a.m. and wander out on the open highway and see if you come across them? Or do you want to, in the middle of the day, go dig into their burrows and tunnels like, the hills have eyes? Go for it.
Oh, my God, man. Dude, so
Yeah.
I mean, what did everybody in the chat think of that story though, man? Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
That's my recollection of it, based on the fact that I was forced to go every year and had to derive some entertainment out of it somehow. So
Yeah.
yes. With the bank stuff and the Adobe, 90% of that is totally factual. It's totally accurate.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Okay, let's
Don't go to
see
the
here.
desert.
Well, DB says the desert is going to get you no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter
With
what.
global warming, we may all be in the desert. Who knows?
Well, yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a cool story, man. I figured I'd share it on here. I got a couple more.
My pleasure.
We could go over and check it out, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
Patty
let's
Heckman, if she would come clean, I'm sure she has, other things to add, but I think she either blacked it out, she's in denial.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because like I said, then why didn't you keep going? Why didn't you keep going on that family trip? Could have gone every year.
That is a good point, Patty. We got to hear your reasoning there. Okay, man. So here is one from a guy who is an over-the-road trucker, and he is sharing his story that happened. This time it looks like from Amarillo, Texas to Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh.
So let's go ahead and see what the deal is with that. It says, I was hauling a tanker from Amarillo, Texas to Phoenix, Arizona a few years ago. It's actually just a bit further than we're legally supposed to drive without a co-driver, but it paid well, and I didn't mind cooking the books a little. Now, I'd like to help paint the picture of my boring trip by describing the scenery. However, most of it was in a desert. Miles and miles of nothing but miles and miles at night. There was no scenery, just darkness. Anyway, I was several hours into the trip listening to an audiobook. Normally, I tend toward more esoteric interests, sci-fi, paranormal, urban fantasy, or similar genres. But this night, I only had a book about a lawyer who went to a South American jungle to find an heiress and ended up getting dengue fever. But it was well written, and whoever the reader was, he had a pleasant voice, and I was actually enjoying it pretty well when suddenly, bang! Blowout! Now, understand, when you're hauling a tanker full of gasoline and something goes bang, for a brief moment, you're scared shitless. But after a moment of realizing I wasn't already dead, I figured out what had happened and started looking for a place to pull over. Fortunately, that's not very hard to do in a desert. I got my rig pulled over, grabbed my flashlight, and hopped out to check on the situation. Bad news. It was 2 tires on the tanker's passenger side that had blown. Now, with 1 bad tire, I could limp to the next town. They don't call them 18-wheelers for nothing. But with 2 out on the same side, not safe. Now, this was before cell phones were carried by everybody from old retirees down to kindergarten kids. At least, I for sure didn't have one. So there I was on the side of the road out in the middle of a desert around 2 a.m. with a couple of flat tires. And let me tell you something, my friends. 2 a.m. in the middle of the desert is not a very hospitable environment, I assure you. And he says, I'm a pretty big guy, and I was raised on a farm out in the country back east, and I've always enjoyed hunting and camping, especially back then. But there's something that has always creeped me out about deserts at night. I'm not normally an anxious person, and heck, I even had a pistol in the cab. But the idea of waiting for a state trooper or good Samaritan to come by didn't exactly fill me with glee. So I decided to just uncouple my truck and drive to the nearest town and get a hold of a mechanic. At this point, I was going to have to sleep anyway because I couldn't cook the books with a mechanic and probably a trooper involved. Oh man, starting to get good. I have a feeling.
Yep.
I had just started to disconnect when I heard a voice. I admit I jumped slightly, but then realized it was coming from my cab, the CB. I hadn't heard anyone on it for a good while. Miles and miles of desert and all, but this might be a way to stay more or less on schedule if I could get some help. I hurried up to the front, and about the time I got up there, I heard the voice say, "They are coming." Holy shit. That would be spooky, man.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That would be spooky, bro. And he said something about it, either the voice or maybe just that line sent a shiver down my spine. The voice sounded odd, metallic. Sometimes a bad speaker or CB can cause something like that. So I tried to ignore it and asked, "What?" "They are coming." "Who's coming? Who is this?" The creepy voice almost yelled this time, "They're almost there! Beware!" At this point, I was pretty spooked, so I grabbed my pistol. I got back on the radio to see if I could get any more info. And that's when I noticed that my CB was turned off. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, dude.
They're out there. Yeah.
Dude, they're out there, and his CB's turned off. I had turned it off a few hours ago while listening to my audiobook. I turned it on and tried raising anybody anyway. Nothing.
No.
So he was trying to get a hold of somebody through his CB, and there was nothing, dude. Flat line. I couldn't see anything out in the desert as far as the headlights lit up. So I hopped down and started checking the area around me with my flashlight. Everything looked quiet. Too quiet. Sorry, had to say that. I was just about to go finish disconnecting the tanker when I thought I heard something. Not really anything I could describe, just a noise. Maybe a hint of something moving. As I said before, I'm a hunter and I'm pretty comfortable trusting my instincts. I know I heard something. I decided to climb a nearby rise and take a look from there. And this is the scariest moment I've ever experienced in my life. As soon as I got to the top of the little hill, I saw a spider the size of a person. What? A spider? This is not where I thought this was going to go, man. Oh my God. It was headed my way. For several seconds, I just stared. Then I guess it noticed me and suddenly started running toward me. That broke my paralysis. I ran back to the truck, jerked the fifth wheel release handle, and scrambled into the cab. I took off without worrying about the cables or landing gear. I was sweating and cold at the same time and couldn't believe what I had just seen. My brain was trying to tell me two things at once. Number one, I just saw a huge freaking spider. And number two, there's no way I just saw a huge freaking spider. When I topped the next little rise in the road, the second part of my brain shut up because walking right down the middle of the road like he owned it, maybe he did, was an even bigger spider. The first one I had seen was probably 6 feet wide, including the legs, and looked like a giant brown recluse as near as I can recall. So, the body, while huge, was only like the size of a dog. This thing walking up the road looked like a giant tarantula the size of, well, its legs were covering most of the 2 lanes. Its body was the size of a car, and I was almost on top of it. It's actually kind of interesting how the brain works. I had been a professional driver for several years. My muscle memory, conditioned response, and reflexes all came together to try and avoid an accident, but the part of my brain that was still processing thought was screaming, "Kill it." So I want to know right now, man, what would everybody in the chat do? Would you run that bad boy over, or would you try to dodge that son of a bitch? What would you do, JP?
I'd smash it. Hell yeah, I wouldn't let that thing continue on.
Yeah, man. Dude, I feel like if you didn't, you'd be a total dick because that just means it exists for somebody else to discover, man.
Yeah, it's on to the next victim for that spider, so you got to do it.
Dude, but yeah, like if I couldn't imagine seeing some shit like that. I'd shoot that shit with a pistol. I would run it on whatever it took.
Yep.
I mean, good God, man, huntsman spiders suck, and they're like, as big as my hand or something. But
yeah, I saw big spiders in the south, but what the hell grows in the desert? No idea.
Yeah, dude. All right, let's see. Um, Not that any of that mattered. I don't know how fast I was going at the time. I don't think I had worked all the way through the gears, but I'd guess I was going around 50. An 8-ton vehicle traveling at 50 doesn't stop until it damn well wants to. I jerked the steering wheel, but still hit it almost dead on. My first thought as I slid to a stop was that the giant tarantula, by the way, I've done some research and it actually looked more like a giant wolf spider. I remember it having green eyes that seemed to glow, but at the time I saw it, a giant hairy spider equaled tarantula to me. Had exploded when I hit it. I quickly looked around and I could sort of make out chunks and bits out in the darkness and some on my hood. I decided I didn't need to see any more and started back down the road as fast as I could. That's when the third heart attack provoking thing happened. I started noticing that the bits of spider on my truck started moving. Now, sure, I was rolling and the wind was moving, but something seemed off about the movements. Then I noticed that, how do I put this, the bits of spider had started turning into little spiders. Lots and lots of little spiders, hundreds, thousands, hell, maybe hundreds of thousands, all on my hood. It didn't take them long to find little openings into the cab either. I was freaking out, but I didn't want to stop out there in the desert, so I tried just squishing all of them that I could reach. I got bit several times before I realized they were simply too many to fight like that. Then I remembered that I had a fire extinguisher. Bit of advice: when using a fire extinguisher to fight an army of spiders inside the cab of a truck while heading down the highway at night, remember to open the window first. The good news is it seemed to get them off of me. The bad news, I suddenly couldn't see or breathe. I managed to roll my window down and grab a breath of fresh desert air when I noticed a bizarre sight. Apparently, when I had tried to avoid crashing into the spider and slammed on the brakes to keep from losing complete control of the rig, I had managed to spin around. I was now heading straight back toward my tanker, and it had several giant spiders on it.
Oh, man.
At this point, I had several things going on. I was in a lot of pain from the multiple bites. I was having troubles breathing from either the bites or the extinguisher or both, and the sudden realization hit me that these things were an abomination to nature. I decided at that moment that I was going to kill them and probably myself while I was at it. I hit the pedal to the metal, as they say, and aimed toward the tanker filled with all the lovely explosive gasoline. At what I figured was the last second, I jumped out. I'm not sure I actually remember hitting the ground or the explosion, just an impression of pain and bright lights. To be honest, I was surprised to wake up. Dude, this is the craziest shit I've probably ever read. And it's like, on one hand, you're like, oh my God, can you even believe this shit? And then the other hand, you're like, wait a minute, it is the desert.
Yeah.
So if it did, it may as well be outer space. It's like, it could have happened. Who the hell knows? Like, nobody would be there to see it. You know,
I mean, if the spider was packing, babies on it, then boom.
Yeah. So, I want to know. I want to know, man. What does everyone in the chat think right now? Do you think this is a true story, or is this dude putting us on and we'll finish it up? They only got a couple more paragraphs here. Three more.
And of all things, spiders. Ugh, I hate spiders.
Oh my God, dude. No shit. I would do anything not to get touched by that damn thing. That son of a bitch. Okay, but to be honest, I was kind of surprised to wake up. There were the ruins of my tractor and the tanker and evidence of a huge explosion, but I didn't see any evidence of any giant spiders. After walking a couple of hours, I was picked up by a car and carried to the nearest town. I saw a doctor. He saw all the spider bites and gave me a couple of shots, some burn cream, and a prescription for something and sent me on my way. I talked to the local sheriff. He got a hold of local politician / businessman type. I forget who, not the mayor, but a councilman or something. And they took me out to the wreckage. Neither one said much. They asked me what happened, and I told them I had a blowout and lost control of the truck and wrecked. I wasn't about to tell them about giant spiders with no proof. I'd have lost my license and probably spent time in either jail or a hospital of some sort. Looking at it with them, it seemed pretty obvious that that's not what had happened. The sheriff called the ER and talked to the doctor who had seen me. At first, I thought they were going to arrest me or something, but after talking to the doctor, their attitude changed to something I couldn't quite place. Turns out the council guy was an insurance person, and between the two of them, they signed off on it as a wreck. I ended up getting a nice-sized check out of it, enough to cover a new tractor, but I decided not to be an over-the-road driver anymore after that. One final thing. At the last moment, as I was jumping out of the truck, I'm pretty sure I saw a spider tour, Cinta spider, a half man, half spider on the tanker. Yeah. The idea of giant spiders in the desert is scary enough, but I saw what I think I saw that suggests intelligent giant spider things out there. So if any of y'all live out around the petrified forest in Arizona, I would move.
And those desert people will F anything, so I can see that being half human, half spider. No problem. Yeah.
Those desert people will F anything. That's probably the quote of the stream right there, man. Oh my God. Yeah, so that does, I mean, dude, we're getting, comments here. JK's like, Twilight Zone episode? Dude, that sounds like some crazy stuff, man. Chad Edmonds is having a hard time believing it, though. He says, this is what happens when you eat the worm.
Well, but why go to all this? It's pretty outlandish. It's easy to disbelieve. Why would you go into so much detail? I mean, there's no money in it for him. If he's pushing a movie deal, I can understand. But
yeah, who knows, man? But that, I could go both ways, man. That's definitely, why would he go the way he did? Unless you're like a 12-year-old and you're like, ooh, scary spider monster,
Yeah.
But, this dude's clearly an adult, clearly done, if he's not a trucker, he's done a ton of research.
And I think if you look at it in the context of experiences that happen in the desert that are unusual, there's a ton of them. That and a lot of them are very odd. They encounter things that we don't see anywhere else, especially not in populated areas. So, and look at the desert. Look at the desert's history. The desert's history of being, occupied by Native American Indians, and we just drove them and slaughtered them right out of the desert. And so, a lot of their history's there and buried. And then we went back and, like the excavated Indian ruins, we just went back and desecrated it. And then my dad had to follow up by going back and desecrating it some more and picking the bones out of whatever was left. So
hell yeah, man. Dude, like, spider aliens, alien spider babies.
Yeah.
Chad Evans saying spider shaman. Who knows, man? Like,
and the conditions are so harsh that if anything does live out there, it's not going to be probably a normal looking, because the normal things that we're used to seeing are not things that are not going to survive in desert climate. And so I would imagine there's much unusual stuff out there.
Sure. God, dude. So I want a hand in the chat right now for everybody who is still here with us. I got to know, man, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, dude, if I had to make a desert survival team, I think we have the ultimate people in here to pull that shit off, man.
I ain't going. I'm not going.
Dude, you got to go. If I have to assemble a team, you got to go, man. You have too much experience.
No. The closest you'll get me is a flight from LA to Vegas and at the Strip and then back, and that's it. I'm not driving through that desert ever again. No.
Dude, but when's the last time you drove through desert?
Oh, as soon as I was old enough to say I'm not effing going anymore. Yeah, so I was still very young, and I avoided it at all costs. So,
so have you even avoided the California desert?
Oh yeah, no, I hate all deserts. Yeah, it's just look, people don't live there for a reason. The climate's not sustainable for people to thrive in, and there's a reason to not live there. We don't live in Antarctica either. Just leave it.
Dude, that's what I'm saying though. I mean, we could have you have experience. We have Chad. I know he's mechanically sound. We have Dragon Blues, who sit on top of an engine bay for a total of like 28 hours through the desert.
Oh, find that truck driver. We need him too.
Yeah, we need that damn. Oh, we have J.K. Oh, he says he's not going either, man. So you two are going to leave me hanging.
I lived through enough. I'm not. I don't want to push the envelope. No.
Oh man,
they're not made for people. It's not made for people to inhabit or stay in or even, I would say, travel through. Just there's airplanes. Why would you drive through the desert when you can fly right over it?
Oh my God! Well, yeah, Jonas has got to go with us. He's a Texas boy. He's got to go, man.
And half Texas is desert wasteland. So yeah, dude. Probably, I'm surprised if he doesn't have some big Texas experience. If he can get his rich bud out of the populated areas of Texas and go out into the boonies for a little while.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what, man. I felt so, because look, I've been to the California desert before, and it's the same as every other damn desert. There ain't shit there. But I went there to see filming locations for some Rob Zombie films, and I did. But let me tell you something, man. I was so fucking delirious after going through New Mexico, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona.
We used to go out into the desert and shoot guns, and we killed something that I've never seen before. It was like a large black lizard, but it didn't look like any lizard I had ever seen. Yeah, and one of my friends chased it for like 45 minutes. Cornered it under some rock and killed it, and I've never seen it before. I still don't know what it was exactly. Yeah.
Damn. So there's stuff that exists in the desert that just people. I mean, hell, giant spiders isn't out of the question. It doesn't sound like.
My dad was big into the desert, and also he liked aerospace and things like that. So they were launching a rocket out of, I forget, Vandenberg, Edwards Air Force Base, wherever. And we were in a desert near there. And so we camped out at night, out in the open desert. And we had an RV. All of us were in that RV by the end of the night because there's so many weird sounds and stuff going on out there in the distance that, it's not. Yeah.
It's just, Dude, yeah, that's what Jonas is like. You guys killed a damn Komodo dragon.
I think we did. That's what it resembled most closely like, but it wasn't quite as. It was more spiny, and there were like its ears were long and pointy. I don't know. It was a while ago, but I don't want to think about it.
Dude, well, I mean, I'm telling you, man, I felt so cheated when, like I said, I've been in the California desert before. I know California has desert. Hell, there's a lot of desert out here.
Yeah.
But once we went through New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, I was so delirious. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait until we get to California. And then, I can see some hint of, God damn, if it wasn't still desert when we crossed into this
we would be sitting in a god-awful desert right now if it wasn't for the aqueducts that feed all the water from the Colorado River and other sources into Los Angeles, because this is not our water. Water is not native here. We don't have natural sources for fresh water here because it's a desert. Oh, yeah.
Dude, everybody's still laughing their ass off at your lizard story. But let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. So I watched a documentary a few years ago. I can't remember if it was like Discovery Channel or what, but it was like when pets go wild, essentially. And it would be like, people who have a pet skunk and the skunk goes crazy, or a pet raccoon and the raccoon goes crazy after like 10 years. Or, of course, monkeys are known to do that a lot. But there was this dude who was a huge into weightlifting, like bodybuilder type guy. He was jacked. And he decided that he wanted like pet lizards like that, like Komodo dragons or whatever. He wanted it. And he would let, he had like, we'll say 10 of them. I don't remember how many he had, but he had more than one. He had a few. He would let these sons of bitches run around his house.
No.
He would let them run around his house. Well, they don't know exactly what happened to the guy, but he died while he was. Yeah, I can tell you. Yeah. He died while he was lifting weights. Like he was on the weight bench. The responding officer, they showed, like, they couldn't even show a picture of what happened. They did a drawing off of his description, man. He's like, this was the nastiest thing I'd ever seen, because when this guy died, those fucking Komodo dragons ate him.
Yeah, so for what I understand, they will bite you, and their bite is just so nasty and full of germs, and they'll just follow you around while your infection festers until they can come in and make the kill. So you suffer, and then
So this son of a bitch had been bitten and was getting sick, and they waited until he was weak enough that they could overcome his ass and just ate him alive, dude.
Yep.
That's nuts. Desert animals, man. Don't mess with them. Don't mess with the desert. Don't mess with Texas.
Don't go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be the message of this podcast tonight, man.
Look at most of Nevada, the state of Nevada. Most of Nevada is government owned because they turned it from sand into glass when they did all the nuclear test sites out there, but it was perfect place because no one wanted to live in the damn desert. So it was free, open. Yeah. It's funny too, because my dad lived, when I was very, very young, he used to work for a company who was testing atomic bombs out in the New Mexico desert.
Oh my God.
They would laugh because they got you got Albuquerque, and then you've got the test site, and the wind when they tested it was going the other direction. But guess what? All of a sudden they ignited this thing, and the wind would shift and blow all of that debris, all that radiation right into Albuquerque. That's why I have no hair. All my family, everybody else, all my older brothers and sisters have nice full heads of hair, but they were older, so they weren't around there when, like my mom was pregnant with my brother and I, twins, and as the radiation hovered over, flew over Albuquerque. So yeah, F the desert. Just don't live there.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, Grassman. So right now we're going to start wrapping it up, folks. I know it's been a while, so go ahead and we'll chat it up. Send some questions over, comments, whatever you want. It can be desert related. It can be a question to either of us. Who cares? This is the first one of many upcoming podcasts, and hopefully by next week I'll have some shelving up behind me. We'll have it lit up. This will look far better, more like JP's background. He has a kick-ass.
Come here. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, here, wait, I'll show you some other ones. If I can. I'll probably have to shift. I know it.
Oh man, look at it. Damn.
A darker world filled with nightmares. Come down with me.
This guy
will not return empty-handed.
That is so badass, man. Damn. Ah!
Kinds of stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm hoping by next week, by next podcast, I have some shelving up, got some background stuff going on. We can light it. It'll look nice and, get more settled in. Chad is wanting one more hour, man. Dude, I would if I could, but dinner's been made and we have guests over right now, and I can't keep them up. It's infants. So, oh, look at that with the lighting. That looks so much cooler. Check out JP's lighting.
See my shirt, Arizona. It's a dry heat.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Shirt. My favorite damn shirt of the desert. Ugh.
Oh my God. Let's see here. Okay, so.
Oh, yeah. Right behind me.
Oh, shit, yeah. That's badass.
That's my girlfriend. She's living in Arizona.
Yeah, we see what happened to her ass, man.
Yeah. She fits right
Dude,
in.
so JK wants to know here. Did you know that Terror Train got a remake and the remake bizarrely got a sequel? No, I was not aware of that. That was it. Okay, so here's the question, JK. Was it better than the Prom Night remake? And that's not asking much, man. So yeah. DB is excited to see the creepy room. Hell yeah.
A corner of it anyway, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. It is massive, folks. It is massive. You can't get it all in one camera angle there, but Chad wants to know, are you going to review the last voyage of the Demeter? I would be up for it, dude. We need to go. So JP lives close to me now. So we're movie going buddies. He's the one who's actually going to help put up the shelving and light it all up for me and everything, which is going to be badass. So we might go and check that out together, dude. It
Definitely.
would be,
yeah, that'd be great.
I'm still being in California. I now have access to IMAX, and I have never been. So I know
I've never been. Yeah, that'll be great.
That's crazy. I know the last voyage of the Demeter won't be playing there, but I would love to see Oppenheimer there because it was shot very specifically for IMAX using IMAX cameras. So I figure that's the way it's got to be seen. But yeah, hell yeah. And the last voyage of the Demeter, I cannot wait to check out, man. That's one I'm really looking forward to. There's nothing else coming out I can think of that.
Oh, wait, is Nicolas Cage in it?
Yeah, no shit. Oh my God, he's back as Dracula.
He screwed up your last one.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
I liked it. I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good, but there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Like, I thought it was okay. I didn't outright hate it, but yeah, man, like there's just so much going on and too many plot points, you know. Grassman, let me tell you something. Creep Show 3, I watched it probably when it came out, and yes, it is. So Ann Clevel and James Doodleson are the producers of that, or they're the ones to thank for that. And they would wait until rights expired for certain movies, and they would immediately snatch them up. That is why you have a Creep Show 3 that is not made by anyone that had anything to do with the other two films. Wow. And it's how you got shit like Day of the Dead, Contagion, or whatever the hell that piece of shit was called. They snagged up the rights on a sequel of the Night of the Living Dead trilogy, man. I mean, just death to Ann Clevel and James Doodleson.
Isn't that what
everything?
Isn't that what happened to Exorcist 2? Because the people who were involved in Exorcist 1 wouldn't do sequels, and so they were left to other means. Because the two guys who made Exorcist 1 didn't want anything to do with it. Is that right?
You know, I'm not positive on that. I know that they didn't have a story for it, and they wanted an immediate, you know, they wanted to get another sequel out there, of course, because it's obviously like a cash cow thing. And the director they got for The Exorcist 2 didn't even like the original. He fucking hated the original film.
Wow.
And, well, we see what that got us.
I see.
Yes, and shout out to Big John Studd. He's going to be building these shelves. It's going to be amazing. JP's going to come over, light them up, help me set them up. That's going to be awesome. Hopefully next week you all will get a gander at that. JK, man, thank you for coming in, brother dude. I will be here next week. It was nice to see you, man. I've totally missed you. Let's see.
Same here. My Thursdays were very, very boring. without this.
Dude, yeah, mine too, man. It just sucked. I felt like I was letting everybody down and everything, but it's like, shit, we didn't really have much of an option.
Time to make up for it.
Yep, time to make up for it. We're gonna have to get you on here for a 7-hour stream, man.
Nobody wants to see that.
Oh yeah, dude, we'll have to get a donut and
we got to get you in touch with the indie movie people out here who are dying to get on your show.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So yeah, being in Los Angeles is definitely going to aid.
Actors and writers are, all on strike. So indie is exempt from that. So they are trying to, and they are probably they were busy before the strike, but now it's the only source for new stuff for a while, probably. So I'm sure they're scrambling.
Man. Yeah, they'll take advantage of.
Let's get inside. Let's get inside that indie industry and take a look at what they're doing for horror.
Yeah, because that's all we're going to have, like you said, for a little while there, man. It's and they're the ones who deserve it, man. They're the ones who's going to get the recognition for stepping up when all these other people won't do it.
From working in a corporate office for 30 years, and I had the opportunity to go with Elizabeth, who you had on the show. She was doing another indie horror movie, and to watch those people at the level of commitment and just how much they love it they know that there's not a huge gross profit that's coming their way. They know they're not going to make a fortune out of it. They do it just because they love it, and they do it tirelessly. We were in Burbank one afternoon, and then we're at Dodger Stadium or outside Dodger Stadium at 2 a.m. And then so they're all over the place, and it's so much fun to be around because they absolutely love what they do. So I hope we can work with them and get involved in that.
Absolutely.
Show people what it's like. Because I got to see some very interesting stuff about indie horror movie that I watched as they were making it, and I found it extremely interesting. So.
Yeah. Well, that's another cool thing I could look into, man, is hitting these people up and seeing if they would mind if I live stream from the set of some of these horror movies.
Sure.
And just walk around a little bit, nothing intrusive, but walk around a little bit and show people what it's like sometimes, man, on these sets.
Yeah. We were in Trabuco Canyon, very remote, pouring rain, and they have these little shacks set up, and they were shooting the horror movie there, and it was very interesting to see how they cope with very small budget and working. God, that day they probably worked 15 hours that day. Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, they'll go for it, man. They'll put in the work,
and they're walking around with wounds and all the special effects stuff on. I really love special effects, so yeah, it was great.
Hell yeah. All right, hey Nate, man, nice to see you in here, brother Jack, dude. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back, my friend. All right, everybody, now let's go ahead. I want to send some thank yous out real quick. We have Dragon Blues celebrating 34 months of being a channel member. JK at 33, almost pulling in the 3 years, baby.
Wow.
And Chad Edmonds for becoming a new Talk Horror channel member. Thank you for that, man. Of course, all of that stuff goes to helping me out. I get a percentage off of that comes into my pocket and definitely helps fund the Talk Horror dream, my friend. So I thank y'all for that. And of course, I thank everyone for coming in tonight, chatting it up with me. It's been a while. I missed all of you. Next week, I will be back here, same Talk Horror time, same Talk Horror channel. The only thing that's changed for me is I have to get used to Pacific Standard Time now. Definitely weird doing this at 5 instead of 8, but hey, man, that's how it goes. Thank you, Grassman. Hey, I'm going to try, brother, man. I am so far, dude. I'm digging the Cali life for the moments. And, I'll keep y'all up to date on all the latest happenings and what all I'm up to.
And if you guys want to see, I got a hot tip on a movie called Sawed Off. That is an indie horror movie. Ooh. That is different. It's very interesting plot line that I hadn't seen. I thought it was really, really good. at the end, it kind of drops off a little, but definitely worth a watch.
Sweet. Once again, that is Sawed Off. It is a Hunter Johnson film.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get him on the podcast very soon. I know you've worked with him, so maybe you and Elizabeth can come on with him and kind of we'll all go through a stream together because I know she works with him a lot.
Yeah.
So
yes. Yeah, that's the last movie that that's the one thing I was involved in, and watching that whole crew. And he's the nicest guy I've ever met. And they were all wonderful to work with. So yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Can't wait, man. It's time to get some more indie filmmakers on here. And
yeah,
I had a lot of fun doing the 30 days of Talk Horror, man, talking to all everyone involved in filmmaking. That was really fun. So we'll get that rolling. But all right, my friends, until next Thursday, look horror, listen horror, and join me here, JP.
Talk
horror. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for being on, dude.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Well, damn, there's El Pato Libre coming in with a $20.
Oh, awesome. Where's he been?
Through Super Chat, man. Thank you for that, El Pato. That helps out, brother. All right, good night, my friends. Woo, look at the mask.
Pirate ship, masks.
Damn.
Yeah, all kinds of crap. Yeah, balls and crap.
Look at
See
that,
y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.